ECAfrica100, connecting entrepreneurs on the African continent and beyond. Profiling 100 entrepreneurs in 100 days. Tune in as we amplify African excellence with your host, Vanessa Perumal, on Africa Business Radio.
Hi guys, this is Vanessa Perumal on ECAfrica100, coming to you on a podcast on Africa Business Radio. If I ever thought being financially in trouble would get me, a mere journalist, into a seat and own my podcast, I would have done it 10 years ago. So thank you, Africa Business Radio. So every time I think I know more, I find a guest who knows more than me, and it gets a bit frustrating. But I'm excited to meet Tlale. Is going to tell me, as always, how to say her name, the lady with a beautiful yellow dress, with agility in her business name.
Yes.
Welcome to ECAfrica100. Africa Business Radio is where we're at.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here. And my name is Tlale Mosimane.
Mosimane is a famous surname in South Africa.
And I made it famous. Don't look anywhere.
So your 30-second spiel, madam, how do you find yourself on that chair? Let's tell the listeners how you got here, because this is a movement, profiling 100 entrepreneurs in 100 days. Never been done in history before. A 21st century disruptor. Actually, let me correct the narrative. I've been saying we are the first generation black women entrepreneurs. It's true. There are many women who have gone and on whose shoulders we stand on. But I think, let's be honest, to where we find ourselves in the 21st century, we are the first 21st century black women entrepreneurs in a digital age. Is that correct, Tlale?
That's 100% correct. And everything around us is just being disrupted. So business is not as usual as we would expect it to be. But in terms of why I'm here, so I went to She Powers Africa conference to support a friend of mine, Tlale, and I happened to be talking about the various initiatives I've taken to market my business and get my foot in the door. And through that conversation, I met your team, who said, "Really? You pay so much money? What's wrong with you?"
Because we've done the same.
Yeah, and then I said, well, we've also done the same. And I just thought, in our quest to create these businesses, we make so many mistakes because we're just not informed about what's out there.
And that was a big mistake for you, and I will talk about it, eh?
Yeah, it was a lesson. It was a lesson to say not everything is suitable for every single business.
I love this lesson. I think we'll also do this at the launch, maybe a conversation.
Yeah.
But tell us who you are and what you do. And are you a mom, or do you have a boyfriend, or where are you at? How many people do you work with? When did you break into business? Because we've never met you before.
I am, interesting enough, have been in business since I was in my early 20s. So I went to university and I worked for a couple of years, and I think I was probably the worst employee to be ever hired in the history of employment, because I really didn't like the concept of work and the construct of being put in a box. I wanted to do other things and different things. So I started opening up different businesses. I've done coffins, I've done all types of stuff.
There's big money there, hey?
Well, apparently there wasn't, because mine was not very successful. So
to be dead.
So I've done a couple of things because I really like the idea of being able to take ownership of my destiny. Change Agility was born about 8 years ago, so I've been in business for 8 years.
Change Agility.
Agility, yes.
Change, I know, and agility I use it all the time in all my communication.
Yes.
I feel so posh about it. Before you even explain what Change Agility is, guys, I hope you got your pens and pencils and your coffee nearby, because this word agility is something you want to write down. Tell us about agility.
So for me, it's all about being nimble and flexible and be able to adjust to your environment.
Shift from agility to nimble now. That's so hard.
It
doesn't mean
hard.
West Africa, East Africa, North Africa.
Well, it's about being flexible. It's about movement and taking advantage of every possible situation, listening and being aware of the space that you're in. Agile means that you are not stuck in a specific space. Right. You're constantly moving.
And you change all the time, even in a day.
Changing all the time, and Africa is amazing with that. I mean, we understand the concept of movement more than anybody else in the world. So our ability to just move means that we should be able to move even in our minds and in our thinking and in our speech. It's not just about the bodies, having your entire being move as the world moves. And Africa is different from now. I mean, when I was growing up to now, it's a whole different world. And if I was stuck in that type of thinking that this is my world and not agile enough to transform as the world is transforming and move with the world, where would I be? So agile was important for me in the name of my business.
So what does your business do and what did you study?
So I studied IT like everybody else at that time. So I'm 40, going on 41, which means I had to study IT. I didn't have a choice. My mother told me, people who know computers are the people who are going to have jobs forever.
My son is coming to work with you. He's in matric.
He's in matric. But it wasn't me. It wasn't my destiny. I worked as an IT sub-consultant for many years. And then I realized I really love people. I love connecting. I love psychology and understanding how people experience the workplace. And that's what we do. We really try and help organizations put together intentional plans on helping people when their world of work is changing, when the experience is different.
So you called change agility.
Yes.
And so you have a team that focuses companies on?
So our team focuses companies on transformation of the work environment, not transformation in terms of how we understand transformation in BE and stuff like that. If I'm an employee and anything changes in my day-to-day work, if my experience of my work changes, it is my employer's responsibility to help me through that transition. And that's what we do.
So you're working to empower the employee?
Yes.
My gosh, I've never heard about this.
Yeah.
So responsibility then goes to the employer.
It goes to the employer.
People ask me why we're so successful. I think one of our strengths is that we empower our staff so much.
Yeah.
Is there a thing about over-empowering?
I don't think so. I think every single employee is an individual first before they become part of your organization, and each individual comes with their nuances and uniqueness and all of that. So there's nothing like over-empowerment, but there is something like maybe not internalizing that and using it for what it's meant to be used.
So there must have been a profound experience. Tell me about your experience when you came into JT Communications today.
When I came in, a young man came and greeted me at the gate. He was very friendly. He offered to carry my bag, which I thought, oh, cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So we were prepared. We're an agile company.
Yeah, so it was a very nice, warm introduction to the organization, you know, because normally you walk in and you sit at reception and you just kind of wait, but to just have somebody who says you can sit here, do you want coffee, and you feel like
so
you're
this is a good business tip for people to learn then.
Yeah, it is a good business tip.
To be flexible in a day.
To be flexible, you have to be flexible and you have to be very client focused. So not every client is going to want their bags to be carried, but the fact that you offered, you're giving the client the opportunity to say yes or not. So that's the type of thing that you need to think about. What's the phase that I'm presenting?
Because you know why I think it's important? Because employees are the backbone of the potential that we can untap.
Listen, as an entrepreneur, you can never build a business on your own. The purpose of entrepreneurship and the true measure of what you do is how many lives we can change. So if you don't have a team that actually elevates you and that you can trust and that represents your brand well, then you have not done very well.
I like your model. So is this a scalable model? Is it online? How can clients engage with you?
So our model is scalable because we scale it from a consulting perspective, but we don't have anything online. A lot of our work is obviously one-on-one. We work with people. Our team is a team of industrial psychologists. So it's a very personal, unique, agile solution that we provide for every single client.
And the disruptor, I am thinking, okay, we need to do some podcasts for this girl. There's a business opportunity. Put an online course. Okay, yeah. So you're human, and the dynamic in a human touch in an information age, is that important?
It is. I mean, technology has really disrupted how we communicate and engage with people in the workplace. So that's a big deal for us. Even for us as change managers, we are now realizing that we have to start embracing more of the technological side versus how we've been doing things traditionally, and we are transforming.
What I want to know from you, even as a small business, is it important even for someone like me who can barely pay the rent sometimes to have an agilely flexible business and comfortable employees? Do I need to worry about these things?
I think anybody that hires somebody has to worry about it. If you're going to make everything about you, you are not allowing your employees to help you become the best that you can, because you only have that much capacity. So by allowing them to be agile, as long as they understand your model, your principles, your values, where you're going as an organization, which is a big part of change management. You have to be very clear about what the future looks like, what it feels like. The employees will be able to fit into that if they are the right fit for your organization.
Okay, at some point in this masterclass, I want you, from where you are and your vantage, what are the commonalities of mistakes that we as entrepreneurs make that you can correct in your methodology?
I think the biggest mistake that we make is that the first thing that we do when we start recruiting, we try and find the cheapest person that we can find.
So it's a no-no.
It's a huge mistake, because you should be recruiting for purpose, and because you're small, you should be recruiting the person that can actually do the job. You don't have the liberty or the space or the ability for mistakes, so you need to hire people that can do work. And once you've done that, you can start bringing in people to nurture and grow and things like that.
Having said that, because I want to open the door and leave room for people at the table.
Yeah.
I've taken 2 interns. I wanted them to leave by the third day. I've thought enough is enough.
Yeah.
But they're also part of the backbone of how we carry on.
Yeah.
Should we be able to mentor as small businesses and employ the right people?
I think every small business has got a responsibility to have learners, by the way. We've got learners ourselves, but I wouldn't bring the learners into an environment where there's nobody to nurture them.
Right, because it's constant training.
Yeah, that is not fair. They are not here to be making tea and coffee. They're here to learn. Right. They're here to build a future for themselves. So I think that if you don't have the capacity and the ability and the passion to nurture them, you should not just bring them in to be able to, I don't know, make your coffee or clean your office.
But listen, we have a ranking order in our office.
Yeah.
Last coffee maker.
Look, they'll probably make coffee anyway because they're not sure where they're at, and they're thinking
I scream like a mad woman, and people think this woman is crazy, but my team knows that moment is where we cash flow in. So a quick second and third lessons.
I think the second lesson is about not persevering enough. I think a lot of entrepreneurs give up too early. I think that there's a lot of romanticism around being an entrepreneur, so the expectations are not really realistic. Hence, when you get in, you're like, what? That's not what I put it. I'm out of here, type thing. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is that it does eventually work out. You just need to stick in there, and you need to work hard, and you need to work smarter, and you need to just, be really passionate about what you want to create and what you want to do.
So when you walk into a room, you make employees feel good or employees feel uncomfortable, or is it a combination?
When I work in a room, I make employees feel excited about being there, and I make them feel comfortable that I am somebody that they can talk to and they can learn from and grow from. So, and I also look at them that way because I try and learn something new from my employees every day.
And it's interesting that you say that, because agile, flexible companies, we've had some serial ICT aggregators, people working in digital technology, in robotics, etc.
Yeah.
And they say the way to do business is the human touch, and you're validating that.
It is. And a lot of people don't understand that. So we think technologies are going to do everything. They are going to do a lot, and they're going to transform our world. But people still need to be taken care of. People still need to be seen. People just want to be seen, and they want to be heard, and they want to be understood.
And now, in terms of your staff and your team, how do you all fix yourselves? And tell me, how many people do you employ?
We've got 3 people in the office right now, and then we've got 9 consultants out on the field. And we are not very good at fixing ourselves.
Everybody needs somebody.
Everybody needs somebody. And as part of our away Christmas party, we've decided to do that. We've decided to sit down and reflect and have lessons learned and think about what we're doing and get an external facilitators to help that process of fixing. I wouldn't say fixing ourselves, but a process of growth and development and doing better come 2019. Because 2019 is our year.
It's our year. Yeah. And I feel the change is coming.
Big year. Yeah.
Change and agility.
Yeah.
What inspires you?
For me, definitely family. I'm from a very supportive family. I would not be able to do this if it was not for my family.
Yes.
I always say my poor mother is a nurse, and if she knew the amount of money that she spent on my little whims and, Mom, today I'm opening a flower thing and tomorrow I'm opening that. So she's been really, really supportive, and I'm lucky enough to be married to also a supportive man who doesn't expect me to bring the check every month. So he understands the concept of entrepreneurship. So that is quite important to me. So that is, my family inspires me. I look at my mom, I remember my grandmother, strong women. I'm from a family of amazing, strong black women who just really shifted my thinking in what I can be in the world.
I love that. Thank you so much, Tlale. I love this interview. You've inspired me. How can we find you?
So we are on LinkedIn. We are are on Facebook. Got a website, www.changeagility.co.za. And we're also on Twitter.
Nice.
Yeah,
Change
Agility.
I think you've put a different spin to the podcast series we've had in masterclasses. You've focused inherently on the rights of employees, but in a very significantly human way.
Yes.
And I think once we all get right, it's okay. Sometimes you're not able to pay at your optimum.
Yeah.
But it's not always about the payment. It's about the job satisfaction.
Yeah. It's not about the payment. It's about how people feel when they come into your workplace. Do they feel validated? Are you authentic as an employer? Are you taking care of their needs at a fundamental level? And that's what's important.
I am so excited to have met you. Thank you so much for making. What do you think of this podcast?
I think it's fantastic. I was a bit nervous in the beginning, but I think, I could do this.
Okay,
this is
awesome.
cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Africa Business Radio. This is Vanessa Perumal. ECAfrica100 is where we're at. And the company that you should be looking for is called
Change Agility.
Thank you so much. This is Vanessa Perumal signing out. ECAfrica100, where we profile in 100 entrepreneurs in 100
days. Yay.
You've been listening to ECAfrica100 on Africa Business Radio. Join the conversation. #ECAfrica100.